Good evening, and welcome to Weekly Wine News with Matt Denune. In Old World News, recent court decisions involving the Valpolicella Consorzio and a group of free-thinking producers that left this marketing body have resulted in conflicting verdicts that have brought great attention not only to the proper use of the Amarone name, but also the underlying tension between those two groups and the direction they wish to take regarding promotion of their products. The conflict here regards a group of producers that left the Consorzio in 2009 to form its own group, known as the Amarone families. Originally 12 producers, all family-owned, and including such notable wineries as Masi, Allegrini, Tedeschi, Tomasi, and Tenuta Sant'Antonio, who were the founders of this new union. Amarone families, having seen some bottles of Amarone being sold for cheap prices in various European markets, decided that the Consorzio was not doing enough to protect the high-quality image and fame of this celebrated wine and bolted. Andrea Sartori, current president of the Valpolicella Consorzio, is quoted as saying, "The main issue for the Consorzio is the fact that La Family are improperly using the name Amarone to promote themselves. That is not right because the name belongs to the wine community of Valpolicella." It seems to be left to the courts to decide the outcome of this unfortunate feud between the two groups, who seem to both genuinely love Amarone and the name it represents. In France, a massive Côte d'Aron wine fraud has been uncovered by French police. Some 66.5 million bottles of wine, the equivalent of 13 Olympic-sized swimming pools full of wine, was falsely sold as high-quality Côte d'Aron. Some of the wine, 10,000 liters in fact, was even falsely sold under the renowned Châteauneuf-du-Pape AOP label. This massive wine fraud was revealed in a report this week by France's consumer fraud body. The massive misuse of the Côte d'Aron label was said to include a major wine producer, which has not been named. But the chief executive to consumer fraud body told the press that the CEO of the company was indicted for deception and fraud. Wine fraud in France has become an issue for authorities and customers alike in recent years, with the problem being highlighted by the jailing in 2016 of a French wine baron. In New World news, Canada is exerting its presence in the wine world thanks to a battle over Australian wine exports. Australian trade officials recently met with their Canadian counterparts to object to extra taxes and markups on imported wine sold in Canada that the Australian wine industry believes breach international trade rules and threaten Australian wine sales. The Canadian measure includes the adoption of separate distribution channels reserved for Canadian wine only, and extra fees on imported wines. According to figures recently released by Wine Australia, Australian wine imports to Canada were valued at $187 million in 2017, equal to 7% of Australia's total wine exports for the year of $2.6 billion, and the fourth biggest wine export market. In Texas, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission is mending fences under new management after repeated scandals. Nearly a year after a series of self-inflicted wounds led to a purge of the agency's upper management, a new commissioner, Kevin Lilly, a former Army captain, and new executive director, retired Army General Bentley Nettles, have launched a series of reforms, and the businesses they regulate say they've seen a big change. Still, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code remains remarkably complicated, so its enforcement can seem overwrought in the minds of critics, even when it's done properly. Though, thankfully, some of the TABC's most vociferous critics say a wholesale change in leadership has produced a reform agency that no longer triggers fear and loathing at the very mention of its name. In technology news, new research shows that the global wine market is shifting towards aluminum closures. Aluminum closures now account for just 30% of the total bottled still wine market, according to research recently conducted by Euromonitor. With 30 billion bottles sold worldwide in 2016 alone, the aluminum closure market size is now around 9 billion units annually. This shift towards aluminum screw caps is particularly evident in the largest still wine markets, Europe and the USA. The situation in the United States of America continues to show a strong market for wine with aluminum closures. Euromonitor confirms that aluminum closures account for 44.9% of all sales of bottled wine in the United States in that year. In Northern California, a tech company called Merchant 23 just announced that their platform now enables wineries, distilleries, breweries, and importers to sell their products direct to trade in all 50 states. Sellers wishing to sell through Merchant 23 platform have two options. They can use Merchant 23's clearing distributors for single orders, or they can upload products to the live marketplace. The Merchant 23 Marketplace is an online catalog that displays all products listed by sellers. Any buyer with an ABC license number can create an account, view wholesale pricing, message a seller, place an order. Merchant 23 Logistics handles everything and facilitates distribution, as well as assisting sellers with the necessary state compliance. This online distribution system opens significant doors for those with retail or restaurants in areas with poor choices due to their distribution chains. In other industry news, the National Wine School is unveiling a bold new qualification for the wine trade, the Single Semester Sommelier Program. The program is not just for sommeliers. It allows for a versatile curriculum tailored to the professional needs of each student. New qualifications include Certified Winemaker, Spanish Wine Specialist, International Wine Scholar, and Certified Sommelier Instructor, finally ending in Wine Law Specialist. In April, the Single Semester Sommelier Program is being premiered in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. All three locations will offer the Spanish Wine Specialist. Seatings in Los Angeles and New York are by invitation only. However, Philadelphia Premier Semester is open to all. You can find out more about their programs by visiting their website at www.nationalwine.org. A proposal was recently submitted to the European Union by the drinks trade on calorie labeling, which promises to ensure that nutritional and ingredient information will be available on all beer, wine, and spirits sold in the European Union by 2022. The aim is to effectively close a loophole within a previous ruling that came into effect in 2011, which made it mandatory for all foods, including alcoholic beverages, to provide an ingredient and nutrition declaration, but which saw beverages carrying an ABV of more than 1.2% exempt. Many producers, including Diageo, Treasury, and AB InBev, have already made promises to provide ingredients and nutritional information on a voluntary basis. This proposal will eventually form the basis of what will become a mandatory requirement imposed upon producers with regards to dissemination of nutritional and ingredient information. Decanta.com announced its launch of Decanta Cellars, a collection of 40 red wines from Japan, available through the same digital portal and delivered to the same 127 countries. Decanta is a nearly 3-year-old family-owned Japanese web-based digital company that was initially established to sell spirits for worldwide delivery. Among Decanta's collection are select wines produced from grape varieties that are exclusive to Japan and developed to suit the country's challenging, humid climate. For many of us, this may be our first opportunity to try any wines from Japan. The world's largest soft drink company, Coca-Cola, has introduced an alcoholic beverage in Japan initially. It will be a sparkling alcoholic drink, the first of the company's history. According to industry analysts, Coke will use a popular style of Japanese alcopop called chuhai, mixed with flavored carbonated water. Analysts see Coca-Cola's first foray into the alcoholic space as more evolutionary than revolutionary, and consistent with Coke's openness to emerging categories outside of its core. While the product will be tested and launched in Japan, there is no word on whether it will be introduced to any other global markets. Alaska Air's Wine Flies Free program is driving winery sales for those involved in the program. Close to 7,000 cases of wine flew free between the beginning of 2016 and 2018. And now the airline has rolled out free shipping in 29 cities on the West Coast this year, including Boise and Lewiston, Idaho. Wine shipment is capped at 1 case per person, and Alaska Air absorbs the $25 fee for their mileage plan members to check a case of wine. Let's hope that other airlines servicing American Canadian wine regions soon follow suit. In obituaries, wine industry stalwart Anne Laurie Hickenbottom, who died on December 29th at the age of 88, is credited with many innovations in Australian winemaking. One of his many and maybe most famous credits is creating the bag-and-box system, which is now so universally popular. He is remembered not only for his love of the vine and earth, but also for his many friendships he made across the globe. That's it for Wine News Weekly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Denune. Please remember to hit the subscribe at the bottom, like our video, and please comment with anything that you'd like us to follow in the world of wine, and we'll make sure we keep it on the top. Cheers.